Brittany's been working on for a while. First responders tell us it happens on every response they have to a wreck or a traffic stop. Close calls by drivers in other cars.
Sometimes it's worse. Drivers in Knox County get more citations for the move over law than any other county in the state. Brittany Tarwater talks to people on scene.
There are days in life we never forget.
March the 13th, 2012.
When then Tennessee Highway Patrol Sergeant Lowell Russell barely survived.
Oh, it was actually 2:50 a.m. I was on the side of I-40.
When an 18-wheeler slammed into his cruiser.
Knocked me 330 feet, and then, of course, the car burst into flames, and that's all she wrote.
The driver admitted to falling asleep behind the wheel.
I spent 2 weeks on life support before I woke up, and when I woke up, I didn't have a clue what had happened. It felt like I just went to sleep one night and just woke up in the hospital.
They are unfortunately in a very dangerous position, and we've seen that time and time again.
Tennessee Department of Transportation's Mark Nagy says their trucks have been struck 73 times since the start of this year, 18 of them in East Tennessee.
We've had 113 of our TDOT workers that have been killed in the line of duty since those records began being kept in the late 1940s, and that's 113 too many.
Last year, 2 large Knoxville fire trucks were hit, costing the department about $100,000 in repairs and taking those trucks out of the response rotation.
A car will travel into where we're operating at. They won't hit anything, and then they'll just continue on, almost like they never even saw us.
KFD positions fire trucks in front of a scene to protect responders and people involved in a wreck, but says between distracted and sleepy drivers, medical emergencies behind the wheel, DUI, and more people on our roads, they're seeing close calls and strikes more than ever before.
We see, I'm going to say regularly, close calls. Typically on the interstate where vehicles come within the emergency scene zone just too close.
Did you not see him? You came like that close to him.
Oh, it probably happens on just about every call.
Jeff Bagwell has been with Rural Metro since 1989. He says close calls are no surprise. In fact, he was hit while responding to a wreck.
It was in the middle of a storm, and we were essentially working on a patient and getting them out of a car. A person that was going way too fast, was not paying attention, and luckily all he did was clip me with his mirror.
More common than they'd like it to be. The second time in just 3 months at Knoxville Police Department. In September, Knoxville police officer Jose Somoza was responding to a wreck on I-40 in West Knoxville.
And that's when I received the impact from behind.
The Marine Corps veteran turned Knoxville police officer and father of 3 was hit by an accused drunk driver.
So my first reaction was to get out and ask them to make sure they were okay, ask them if they needed an ambulance, and went from there.
Somoza knows he is one of the lucky ones. In 2000, Knox County Sheriff's Deputy Angela Payne was hit and killed by a car while confronting a shooting suspect. 48-year-old Loudoun County Sheriff's Deputy Chris Jenkins hit and killed in 2022 while getting out of his cruiser to remove a ladder from I-75 by a truck driver who admitted to being under the influence. Tennessee enhanced its move-over law in 2023, requiring drivers to move over a lane of traffic for any stopped vehicle with flashing lights. The penalty for violating the law is up to $2,500 and possibly 30 days in jail. Tennessee Highway Patrol issued 91 violations in Knox County in 2022, the most of any county in the state. A poll sponsored by the National Safety Commission shows more than 70% of Americans have never heard of a move-over law. The driver who hit Russell was charged with vehicular assault, but after a letter was sent begging the judge for mercy, he was sentenced to a year probation.
You know, he was just out making a living as a truck driver, and I thought that he didn't intentionally run over me in my patrol car, so I felt it was something I needed to do as a person to forgive.
The letter was written by Russell. In Knoxville, Brittany Tarwater, WVLT News.